spots in the bottom of the chamber, and it allows you to measure temperature in 2 different locations. And those could both be plugged into your sensor head, one of them to T1 and the other one to T2. The fluorometer chamber only has 1 thermocouple, so it will not, it shouldn't have anything plugged into one of those ports. It is also possible to plug in your own thermocouple. So if you had a specific experiment where you wanted to maybe control temperature based on an ambient sensor, you could actually use the port that's not being used and wire in your own thermocouple to measure temperature on that port. Again, we have additional resources you can consult if that's an application that you might want to do. For most experiments, we recommend either controlling temperature based on the air temperature or the temperature controller, the T exchange. And we'll go through that in a little bit more detail when we talk about the different experiments. Okay, let's go down to light. In the light tab, you'll notice there's a number of pages available. If you click the top page, it will show you your external quantum sensor, and it should show that being plugged into the port labeled PAR. And that's something that we did yesterday. We had you install, just a reminder, that external quantum sensor is this sensor here. And it's measuring the light in the room. So if you covered that sensor, you should see the reading go to 0. If you uncover it, it should go to something non-zero. Obviously, in a room like this, our light level is really small. So you can see here, my light level is only at 6. So very, very small. Since you just installed your external quantum sensor yesterday, my guess is this box may be gray for you, and you need to go ahead and enter your serial number and your multiplier for your sensor. So to do that, you can press the unlock button, and the serial number you can find on the side of the sensor. It's printed in that blue label that's on the side. So simply type in the number that you see there.
I guess I was should I ask how far they come?
Hold on. Welcome back, everyone. አልፎ እንደዚህ እንግዲህ እረፍት ይሰጠናል ብሬክ ኔትወርኩ ምን ያህል እየተከተላችሁ ነበር? ገብረ ኪዳን ስክሪንህን ማየት አልቻልኩም። አይ ዶንት ኖ ሼር አድርገህ ከነበረ ስለዚህ ምን ያህል እየተከተላችሁ እንደነበር ወይም ጥያቄ ካላችሁ እሱን እናድርግና ከመቀጠላችን በፊት
የመጀመሪያውን ፍሎር ላይ አልተከታተልኩም፣ ነገር ግን የቀሩትን እየተከታተልኩት ነበር፣ ግን ሼር ማድረግ አልቻልኩም ነበር።
ኦኬ የመጀመሪያውን ምንድነው ያልከኝ?
ፍሎ የሚለውን እሱን አልተከታተልንም እንጂ
ኦኬ ፍሎ የሚለውን ፓርት ነው ያለፈው። ሌላውን ግን ኦኬ
ሼር አላልኩም እንጂ እየተከታተልኩ ነበር።
ኦኬ ሌሎቻችሁም አይ ቲንክ እየተከተላችሁ እንደሆነ አትሊስት ይክበርን በቪዲዮ ማየት ይችላሉ። ሌሎቻችሁም በላይም ጥያቄ አለ?
I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
At H2 level, the relative humidity of the air is already
H2O control. Okay.
Can I ask in Amharic?
Wait 1 second. Ande. Hello, we have our international sales director, Brent, here. He wanted to say hello and say a few words, okay? And then we'll continue with the questions after. Go ahead.
Thank you, Israel. I hope you guys can hear me. Again, my name is Brent Clausen, director of the international group, and I just wanted to come over and say hello. I hope everybody is enjoying the training and finds this very useful. I know my colleagues, especially Tim, have been working with you guys for a long time on this project, and we're happy to finally make contact with you. We wish we could be there in person, and still hope at some point to get over there to visit you and spend more time directly with you to learn about your research. And hopefully that can happen at some point here in the near future. So again, welcome to the LICOR family, and we're grateful to be able to assist you with your research. Thank you to my colleagues here, Shannon, Elizabeth, and Israel, for taking their time to help train you as well. So enjoy the training, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime in the future.
Okay, thank you. Israel, ለአንተ በአማርኛ ላንተን ትልበልና you can interpret for him. እንትን relative humidity of air 55% ሲል maximum relative humidity ነው on field ላይ፣ ምክንያቱም portable ነው environmental condition ነው የምናወራውና maximum እንትን ላይ ነው የምንሄደው፣ ከዛ በላይ ማለፍ አንችልም።
You're on mute.
So I'll ask and I'll try to answer. So the question is about relative humidity control. Right now on your screen we see 55%. So I guess that's not the highest humidity. That's just the set point Shannon chose. So with this instrument you can control humidity from to a very large range. So when you're in the field, basically I think Shannon, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you want to maintain relatively high humidity for the leaf, because the leaf surface is close to full 100%. So you can control it at about 75, 80, typically 65 and higher. I guess that's the typical range. Or if you want to test the response, you can control it lower too. Generally the leaf likes it high, so you can try if the ambient conditions outside the instrument, if it's dry conditions, you can reduce the humidity, or if you're trying to simulate wet conditions or humid conditions, you can increase the humidity. So you have full control for the humidity concentration. You see where it says reference H2OR and sample H2OS. So since the instrument is measuring both concentrations, you can control on the sample, and you want to say, okay, give the leaf 24 millimoles of H2O per 1 per mole of air, and it will continue to try and maintain that as long as you have, yesterday we talked about the columns where you add water, and you have the desiccant where you take water. So it will use those two to maintain whatever humidity or water concentration you set. There is also the vapor pressure deficit. You can also control on that, and so on. So basically you have the control, but ideally you want to give the leaf the environment that it likes, so nice and humid, so the leaves continues to do what it does. Because if you make it too dry in the chamber, then the leaves will respond by closing their stomach, because they're going to lose a lot of water, so they will close, and you don't see the carbon exchange, or you don't see the function that you're trying to measure.
Yeah, that's very right. The only small addition I would make to what Israel said is that, and Elizabeth talked about this yesterday in her slides, but you do want to maintain the humidity in the chamber close to what it would be in the boundary layer conductance. And that's what I was trying to explain a little bit earlier, because we're taking a leaf in the field that has a certain still layer of air on the surface, and we're putting it into the chamber. And that chamber, we have a fan that is basically stripping away that boundary layer. It's making it a much thinner. And so even if your outside conditions are really low humidity, let's say 20%, here in Nebraska in the winter, it's only about 20% humidity. If we set our humidity at 20% and we put our leaf in the chamber, the stoma are going to immediately shut. They're going to be stressed because they're going to be losing way too much water. And we don't want that to happen. We want to try to keep the leaf in the same condition inside the chamber as it was outside the chamber. Okay, so you cannot control the humidity in the chamber exactly as what it is outside the chamber in the ambient humidity. You want to set your humidity in your chamber at least 50% or above. At least 50% or above. And you'll know if you put your leaf in the chamber and you watch stomatal conductance. So on graph A, stomatal conductance is the green line. If you put your leaf in the chamber and you see that green line going down over time, you know your leaf is starting to close the stoma. It's not a happy leaf, and that's what you don't want. You want that leaf to be the same inside the chamber as it was outside the chamber for most experiments. I mean, this is just a general best practice. Elizabeth and I will talk about the various experiments as we go on. There are some experiments where you may want, maybe your leaf is not active outside the chamber and you're wanting to get it to be more active inside the chamber. So in that situation, you may want to see conductance going up. So anyway, we'll go through those details in just a little bit, but best practice, you want your humidity in your chamber to be about 50% or above, regardless of what your ambient is.
Are there other questions? ሌላ ጥያቄ ካለ I think ጥሩ ነው እንደዚህ አይነት ጥያቄ በኋላ ሴትአፕ ስታደርጉም ዲስከስ እናደርጋለን። ግን አሁን ብትጠየቁ ደግሞ ሪቪው መደረግ ያለበት ነገር ካለ